Yeah.
When you think about the way that if you want to see what American exceptionalism is, or just Western exceptionalism is, this is a great example of this. And this is from 2021. So I want you to understand how Palestinians have always been regarded, because everyone thinks this is October 7, 23. It's not.
Lives in Israel and works with the International Committee of the Red Cross. When the Hamas missiles were being fired at Tel Aviv, he was messaging us that he and his wife were okay in their tiny safe room. His dog was totally distressed. Why is the suffering of innocent civilians being attacked, innocent Israeli civilians being attacked, and the Hamas being ignored?
Randa Abdel Fattah.
I'm so happy that your son has a safe house to go to. If only Gazans had the opportunity to escape, the most densely populated place in the entire world. And it's been under a blockade by Israel for 14 years, cut off from the rest of Palestine. It got absolutely no freedom of movement. And so when you have a military power backed and funded by the US, $3.8 billion a year, you have the state-of-the-art advanced weapons dropping bombs on civilians, and you're talking to me about the safety of Israelis? Where are Palestinians in Gaza supposed to go to?
She took her glasses off. She didn't like the way she's being talked to.
No, she's nodding her head. I think she's actually getting it. But I agree with Saul. Your dog was stressed next to the prison camp that you run. That must be very stressful for you.
Your son's puppy, your son's dog was scared. There are children who were massacred and slaughtered. 9 Palestinian families have been wiped off the civil registry. Just yesterday, there was a tweet about that. 9 Palestinian families no longer exist, obliterated. And you're talking to me about Israeli safety? Israel has state-of-the-art weapons defense system and missile defense system. Where do Palestinians go when they are being bombarded by the IDF, by one of the most powerful nuclear powers in the world? Where is their protection? Where are the people there to protect them from that onslaught? And Israel is targeting civilians. Yes, it is targeting civilians. Israel has access to, because it is the occupier, the population registry for Palestine. So it has the names, the ages, the residential addresses of every single Palestinian in Gaza, which is why it can make a phone call to say we're going to bomb this residential tower at so-and-so time.
Randa, I'm just going to take us back to the question, though, which was about...
I want you to remember something very important here about what she was saying. The population registry for Palestine. Do you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? It means that this is unequivocally been a genocide since day one. They knew exactly where and how to hit them. They had no mercy. And as most people have suggested, October 7th was fully orchestrated. I 1000% believe that it was. And I think they were looking for an opportunity that they felt was there for them in front of them. And it didn't matter, because whether you had Trump or you had Kamala or Biden, it didn't matter, because they were fully on board with it anyway. It was just a question of when. And I do think that the biggest reason it got moved up as, to the front of the line the way that it did is because at the end of the day, Netanyahu's political and situation within the state of Israel is very precarious, to say the least. He had a ton of scandals being thrown in his way, so he saw it as, well, let's just go for it. And they've gone for it. Let me tell you something. If there's one person in that fucking group, Ben-Gvir's got to get it. Ben-Gvir is somebody who cannot die in his bed. He cannot. That is not a person who is going to be allowed, should not be allowed to do that.
I feel like that about all of them, though, to be honest with you. I really do. Like, you're debating how many angels can dance on the head of a pin.
No, I'm not, because I do think that he in particular takes great pleasure in making people suffer.
I think they all do at that level there. They all do.
They're all going to get it one way or the other. But like I said, the important point to remember from that video is that everyone, think of it as everyone has a phone, and every phone has a chip, and everyone is going to know exactly where you are at all times, no matter what. So if they want to come and kill you, they're going to come and kill you, and that's exactly what they've done. So this whole idea of we were shooting at Hamas, we just wanted to get Hamas. No, that's just a cover. It's an excuse. What's their excuse for what they're doing in the West Bank? What's their excuse for what they're doing in southern Lebanon? What's their excuse for what they're doing in Iran? There is none. How about what they've done in Yemen? How about what they're doing? How about what they've done in coordination with our country in Syria, among other places? You think?
Well, they're working towards the Greater Israel Project, right?
Oh yeah.
But they're running
And
out of
why?
people.
And to bring it all full circle, why do you think they have, and why do you think we've had such a favorable opinion about Ukraine? Because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, a significant portion of the ethnicity of the people that actually live in Israel, that claim that that's their land, they're not from there. They're from Ukraine. They're from Poland.
There's a lot of Russians in Israel too, though.
And they're from Russia. That's where they're from. And so now you understand how this is all connected to Israel. All of it. It always has been. So until we recognize that our country is controlled by an oligarchic Zionist billionaire class and everything else doesn't fucking matter, until you come to that realization, you're wasting your time. There are people who are actually caught up in whether or not they're going to figure out who the hell they're going to support for president of the United States on the Democratic side. Like, that fucking matters. I'll tell you what matters. Capitol Hill next week with the Doctors Against Genocide. That matters.
And we're going to have some sort of little gathering for us too, guys. I'm thinking about, like, there's a rooftop bar at the hotel where I'm staying that I think might be a fun place to have a little gathering. So we're going to look into that. But are you ready for me to wrap with the happy story?
Happy, happy, joy, joy.
All right, guys. So this is one of those where I do have a positive note to end on a positive note. But it's one of the, yes, it is a bong. I prefer the term water pipe nowadays because, yeah, if you say bong, it's such a dirty word, right? No, not really. It is a bong. It's a bongs and I go way back, way back. So if you guys don't recall, this was a month ago. I'm going to do a little bit of a flashback to a month ago and a clip of a guest that we had on, Chris Busby.
Man, I really just want to say thank you to everybody like you, right? Everybody who's using their platform to help, everybody who's just supporting. If you can't see the bags under my eyes, man, it's been a long journey, you know? So the support truly keeps me motivated, you know, and it keeps us going, you know, and thank you guys. That's truly all I want to say.
Okay, so I play that because the good news is that Chris's wife has been released from ICE detention. Colin, do you have it? I just want to get the exact dates right. You have the story. I see it there. So guys, the good news. After months of anxiety in a Houston detention center, Stephanie Kenny Velasquez was reunited with her husband last week, but she still feels guilt for those left in detention. Scroll a little bit. We don't need to read this whole article. Look at that. Like, seriously, look, they're both such boos. They're like beautiful baby boos. Okay, I know. So Stephanie Kenny, after 4 months and several court hearings, the wife of a U.S. Army Reserve Black Hawk pilot, yeah, let's not forget that that's there. Okay.
Yeah.
Was released last week from ICE detention facility in Houston. Stephanie K. Velasquez, who is from Venezuela, was detained in December, just 2 days after marrying Chris Busby. On Tuesday, Busby, 28, stood outside the detention center with flowers and a smile, waiting to hug his wife for the first time this year. I just can't believe it, he said on the phone. We've waited so long. Scroll. Kenny Velasquez was released after a federal judge ruled that her due process rights had been violated when immigration officers detained her last year. She had previously applied for asylum and was released into the U.S. in 2021. Still, she said she couldn't let herself celebrate until she was back in his arms. I was in shock. I'm still in shock. I'm just trying to process everything. And by the way, this does not grant her legal status yet. She still has a lot of hoops to jump through, but you can take it out. I was just wanting to end tonight on a positive note. And this is one of those stories that, while it's a feel-good story, it's one of those that shouldn't even have existed in the first place.
Nope.
So we shouldn't be like, this girl shouldn't have had to go through any trauma for us to now be like, oh, well, isn't that great? She's home. But yes, it's great he's home. And I am going to reach out. We have already reached out in terms of sending an email saying that we're so happy that she's back. And if she does want to come and talk about, and as an advocate for the other people, like it sounded almost like she had something to say about the other people there. If that is the case, then I would love for her to come and talk to her and meet her. If not, I'm just very happy that she is home, and yeah.